you are going to learning on interaction of ecology. So you should know about interactions. Interaction means two or more things that have an effect on each other. So when you look at this coral reef, you can see there are several species of fish. These fish species interact with one another. When you come to the interactions, the populations do not exist alone in nature. They are found in the presence of many potential competitors, predators, and mutualists. Community, which is all about different populations in the same area, or populations together, we call a community. Now, when you look at this picture, this is a savanna ecosystem. You can see different number of zebras and some artiodactyls and some cattle. They are living together. So this is a community in a savanna ecosystem. So what is the importance of having these communities or the community interactions? When surviving communities together, different mode of communities available in the ecosystem. So when they are living together, they have interaction. This interaction sometimes it's competitive or sometimes it's beneficial. Or some species are not happy and some species are happy. Some species are neutral. So therefore they are having benefits and also losses. So when you come to the benefits, species often specialize, subdividing niches into smaller ones, each dominated by a different species. When you look at this picture, you can see the lions are dominating. And also sometimes in an aquatic ecosystem, the hippos are dominating. So in this savanna habitat, there are some dominant species and also the superior species and also inferior species. The interaction may evolve to be more favorable. Example, from parasitism to commensalism to mutualism. So we will discuss later these three interactions. Species that are less successful may change to new ways of life. That means they will be able to find new niches according to the resource availability. Species that can do none of these things become extinct. So if we have the interaction with the other species that they are commonly sharing the same resources, so they are not sharing the resources equally. So some are dominating, some are not. So to dominate species, every time it's win, others losing. So losing species can be extinct. The presence or absence of another species can have a profound or little impact on the abundance of the other species. So when you look at the grassland foodweb, you can see there are some predators and there are some prey. So hyena and cheetah are predators, but the only prey species zebra. So therefore, the abundance of the zebra population can be declining once the predator population increases in the ecosystem. And when among them, these interactions, there are 3 different interactions can be seen in the nature. The first one is the symbiosis. Under symbiosis, we can find the mutualism, and then the commensalism, and the parasitism. And in addition to that, there are some competitors, it's a competition, and then the predation. And let's move to the symbiosis. What is symbiosis? Symbiosis is the many mutualistic relationships occur between organisms that live in close physical contact. This is called symbiosis. In this interaction, both species benefit from the interaction, which we call positive interactions. And when you look at this picture, you can see the bees and the bee and the flowers. So the flower can't survive without bee. Bee can't survive without flower. So both species get benefits. This is a positive relationship or positive symbiosis. There are several examples in the nature. So mutualism is a symbiotic relationship in which both species get benefits. So that is the one interaction of the symbiosis association. So examples, the lichens, and then pig wasp and pig tree, legume roots, nodules and nitrobacter, bats and cactus. 2 species provide resources or services to each other, enhances fitness of both species. When we move to the mutualism, there are 2 major mutualisms exist in the nature. First one is obligate. Some examples we can find in an environment. There is a relationship between the algae and fungi we call lichens. These lichens, everywhere you can find. There are different types of lichens you can find in the nature. This is a mutualist association between a species of algae and a species of fungus. So the fungus retains water and takes up minerals. The algae provides carbohydrates and other organic nutrients as the result of photosynthesis. And another example is the coral reef. Coral reef is the mutualist interaction between cnidarians and the algae. This is one of the best trophic mutualism example in the ocean is animal algal mutualism. This coral polyps and dinoflagellate algae. The coral uses photosynthesis byproducts of the zooanthellae. You can find the zooanthellae, the algae in the coral. And the coral secretes mucus-like substances that protects the zooanthellae. So this is one of the beautiful ecosystem in the nature.
To get a clear picture, please watch this video.
A unique partnership. Inside most reef-building polyps are tiny algae called zooxanthellae. They use energy from the sun to photosynthesize, producing up to 95% of the food the corals need. As animals, the corals emit nutrients valuable to the algae too, and also give them a protected place in which to live. This trade-off benefits both the algae and the corals. It's called a symbiotic relationship.
And then another example, fig tree and fig wasp, or yucca and yucca moth. So fig wasp mutualism is well famous. As you know, there are 750 tropical species can find in the world. So these particular fruits pollinate by the wasp. So actually these are not the fruits. They are specialized inflorescences with hundreds of unisexual flowers. You can see here when you cut the flower, the fruit-like structure, inside you can find these inflorescences. When you come to the fig wasp mutualism, so fig wasp Agonidae, the male suited only for boring holes and mating. Females adapted for flying, burrowing into figs and laying eggs in fig oocytes. So the most of the time you can find the female living inside the florence. There is co-adaptations. Receptive figs produce scents that are specific to a particular pollinator species. Shape of ostiole specific to head shape of particular wasp species. This is the lock and key mechanism. Morphology of individual flowers specialized to a particular wasp species. So when you look at this picture, you can see the female flowers and the male flowers. So female wasp enter via ostiole and oviposits in the female flower. The flower styles are different lengths. Wasp only oviposit in one short style. You can find this pollen like this. And when we move to the next example, that is the yucca plant. This is one of the beautiful plants. The female yucca moth use highly modified mouth parts to gather the sticky pollen and roll it into a ball. She carries the pollen to another flower and after piercing its ovary wall, she lays her eggs. She then places the pollen ball into the opening of the stigma. When moth larvae hatch from the eggs, they eat some of the yucca seeds and gnaw their way out of the ovary to complete their life cycle. So enough seeds remain undamaged to produce new generation of yuccas. So the previous example, the fig wasp and the fig tree, and the yucca moth and yucca larva, they are not surviving without these plants, and the plants never survive without this moth and the wasp. And this is the obligate. So that means without one species, the other species cannot survive. That is the obligate mutualism. Another mutualism we call the facultative mutualism. This actually, if the other species present or not, this particular species can survive. They are not purely dependent on the other. But obligate, both species should be there. So one cannot survive without the other. But when you come to the facultative, the one species can live without other species. Famous example, the honeyguide tribes. So we call these honeyguide the indicator. They are supporting to find beehives. This is the facultative mutualism. Beneficial but not essential to survival and reproduction of either party. They are fascinating, the facultative mutualism. So Boran people of the Africa, and this honey guide indicator, we known as the honey guide. So they are supporting to find the beehives for this particular group of an human. Then human hunting and parties are often joined by the greater honey guide, which leads them to bee colonies. So then they actually produce a specific call. Once the call heard by this particular tribe, they are following this particular bird. And then the bird is moving towards the beehives. So then the people are following this particular bird, and finally they will be able to find the beehive. So in this case, what is the benefit for bee honey guide? The benefit is once they find the beehive, so they use the smoke, and then all the bees fly away. So after that, they are collecting the bee honey, and then the remaining parts, the wax and the larvae, is consumed by these honey guide. So therefore, that is the advantage for the honey guide. So this is very, very famous facultative mutualism in the ecosystem.
Na ambapo wewe kama enda bojo ikakurudisha mpaka hapa ulikotoka, ikakuonyesha. Kwa hiyo ni njia ya kuturahisishia kupata.
The bird will wait patiently and fly down and will essentially take the leftovers.
It's the most developed, co-evolved, mutually helpful relationship between any mammal and any bird.
And also there is another facultative mutualism, that is the rhizobium bacteria and the legume plants. So in most of the times, the rhizobium colony inside the root nodule of legume plants can be seen. So then these particular nodules used by the bacteria, Nitrobacter, and then they are living there and fixing the nitrogen. So therefore, both without the root nodules, Nitrobacter is not surviving. So therefore, the soybean plant and the root Nitrobacter bacteria are both important for the mutualism relationship.
In the next lecture, we will discuss the other symbiotic associations.